Hello again, it's the Fiber Ninja. I have a interesting problem to try and solve for you guys today. Overhead you can see I've recently installed a new fiber trough. This is going to be used to convey a new Flashwave 4100 shelf. We've run it overhead below the superstructure down to a fiber distribution panel here at the bottom. Once there, the fiber distribution panel's jumpers will run up, over, and back down again to the fiber trunks that are going to tie this equipment out. The problem we've had today is that we need to run to the back of this fiber distribution panel for the equipment side. But we ran into a few problems. Mainly that there is a fluorescent light bar in the way. We did not want to have to cut this panel here. And as you can see as I zoom in here, the fit in there is extremely tight. And we'd either have to use a special duct size because a 4x4 won't fit, or something even more extreme. What's worse, even if we ran a vertical fiber trough here, you can see that this rack does not have fasteners or attachment points on the back of it. And so as you can see by some of these brackets that are already in, they actually tied all the way to the front. So to get to the back of this bottom fiber distribution panel would be pretty tricky. You can see I've already run the fibers, so you can kind of see what we're planning on doing, and that is to get from the front to the back. Now we could do this the easy way, and that is with hose, flexible hose. The problem is we would only be able to use it once. You can't reuse it again to add new fiber, and we plan to run new fiber in the future. So I need to build a permanent duct that runs from the front to the back. The other problem is this is about 3.5 inches, so I can't fit a 4-inch piece in here like I would like to, as you might have seen how I did in the previous video. So I have a few solutions that we're going to try, and wish me luck. Alright, so what I've decided to try to do is to start with a 2-inch by 2-inch vertical trough. Now there's several different designs of this. I like this one because it's got a lot more teeth in it. It's much more dense, so this makes it a lot more flexible this way, because what I'm going to try to do is customize one of these into a U shape that will hopefully get me from front to back and yet still be protected. So I've used my good old rigid reciprocating saw, love this little guy, with a small blade, and I made these cuts in it so that it would be flexible. And eventually I'm going to put covers over the top section so it'll be covered on both sides. So we'll see, hopefully this works. Okay, so about an hour and a half later, I think I've got my solution. You can see here I'm running a 2-inch vertical duct underneath and back around. I bracketed it in 3 places, but in the front here, I actually had to cut this vertical trough. You can kind of see how much I had to take out, simply to fit the bracket in at the right spacing. I still have room to add more fiber, which I'm going to be adding probably 8 more fibers before I'm done. Got this bracketed in, and then you'll see these 2 screws are actually now long bolts that go back to the other side, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. Actually, before I do that, I wanted to show you one of the tools that I like to use for cutting fiber troughs, the plastic fiber troughs. That's one of these, I guess they call it a Japanese pull saw. The teeth on it are really fine and sharp, and any situation where I've got to cut a plastic fiber trough in place, it's my favorite tool. I've got a lot of control. I can make sure I don't cut any fibers at this point, although none of these are active yet. But anyways, I'm really happy with this. Of all the things I've tried for cutting fiber trough, that's my favorite. Alright, so in the back here, you can see that I've got long bolts now that go all the way through the rack, and put nuts on the backs of those. And then managed to get some long metal standoffs with some L brackets, and that's holding the back side of this transition from front to rear. I'm pretty happy with this so far. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna run some more fiber through it, and then I'm gonna put some cap pieces on top. But so far, I think this is gonna be a good solution for me. Okay, so I'd like to call this particular portion "Making the Best of a Bad Situation." So here is a freshly installed Fujitsu Flashwave 4100 shelf. This is some older equipment, and what was previously put in was a 2-inch by 2-inch duct. But this is not meant to be a vertical duct. This is meant to be horizontal. There should be slots in here if it's going to be mounted in the vertical. In any case, you can already see some of the bad practices as slack was taken up vertically, both at the top and bottom. Bad situation, but I don't want to mess with the fibers in this case. But I'm making the best of a bad situation. So I've cut a slot for my new fibers to run in. And instead of using plastic tie wraps, I'm using the approved black Velcro so that my fibers are snug, but they're not pinched. I'm going to run these fibers all the way up. I've got it tied in a second place and then bound together as they enter my newly installed fiber duct. And you can see I'm starting to manage the slack horizontally at this point. This is what I call making the best of a bad situation. And here is the completed fiber duct that runs from front to back below the rack of equipment. Trying to get a good shot of it here. This is a modified vertical duct. You can see where I've cut notches so that I can make the turns. Trying to get a good shot here. You can also see where I ran long bolts through the rack so that I can attach both on the front and back. Here you can see I have small sections of the cover put in so that the fiber is protected above. This allowed us at this remote site to run one duct that covers both the front and the back vertically. Let me give you a shot from the front. And here we are at the front. You can see a few more of the notches cut and the cover pieces that are now above it. One of our metal standoffs right here that's holding all of this in place. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the simple solution. You can see all of the new ductwork that we put in as it runs under the superstructure, and it's going to make new fiber installations quite simple and easy.